Good morning and welcome to Fox 29's News Now on this Wednesday morning. We're going to get started with some local news for you. The cleanup continues after a tornado ripped through Morgantown, Pennsylvania last night. Fox 29's Steve Keeley filed this report. And we apologize for the technical difficulties on our end. We'll move on instead to more developing news this morning, rocking the Philadelphia sports world today. Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Odubel Hererra is now on administrative leave. Hererra was arrested by Atlantic City Police for an alleged assault against his 20-year-old girlfriend. Fox 29's Lauren Johnson has more.
That's absolutely correct, and it could be longer, could be shorter. We don't know, though, yet. But what we do know is that Memorial Day in Atlantic City, supposed to be the beginning of the summer for a lot of people. It could be the beginning of the end for one Phillies player. Things ended really badly for him there. So bad, he's now on leave, unable to play and facing simple assault charges. NAC booked as David Odubel Hererra, the 27-year-old Venezuelan center fielder, found himself in trouble for putting his hands on his 20-year-old girlfriend from Philadelphia. She left the room at the Golden Nugget they shared, tracked down hotel security, asked for help. They called the Atlantic City Police Department, and they encountered the victim with visible signs of abuse. Hererra was arrested inside that hotel room without incident. As soon as the team learned the news, they responded pretty quickly.
Domestic violence is never acceptable, and obviously we're not in a position to talk about this specific incident with Odubel, but we are able to talk about it more globally, and it's unacceptable every time. I think it's an important enough issue where our players understood and are sensitive and aware enough to know that it is important to address as a group and to open up the conversation.
So last night, the team played without Tim, still managed to pull off a win against the Cardinals. Fans that we spoke with, very disappointed. Some say if these allegations are true, they're going to have to say the outfielder should be released from the team. So he's facing a simple assault charges. He was released on a summons. He's ordered back in court June 17th at 1 p.m. That same day, the Phillies will take on the Nationals down in D.C., so not sure if he's going to still be a part of that team or if he'll even be around for that game.
And moving on to political news this morning, Democrats won't pick their nominee for 2020 campaign just yet, but President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden are already acting like the 2020 presidential contest is a two-man race. Doug Luzader has more on the story from Washington.
President Trump and his rival, Joe Biden, our former vice president, now engaged in what is looking more and more and sounding more and more like a general election campaign. I guess these two have decided, of course, that Joe Biden is the front runner.
Yeah, they decided they're going to be going against each other. But are they calling this a little early, Doug?
Yeah, look, there's the little notion of a Democratic primary that we still have to get through here. But look, the Biden folks love this idea of positioning Biden as kind of the general election candidate at this point, and clearly Biden has caught the president's eye.
Any regrets on your comments on Joe Biden?
President Trump would not answer questions about his leading Democratic rival, Joe Biden, yesterday as he returned to the White House. But just a few hours later, he was defending what he had said about Biden in Japan over the weekend. On Twitter, writing, "I was actually sticking up for sleepy Joe Biden while on foreign soil. Kim Jong-un called him a low IQ idiot and many other things, whereas I related the quote of Chairman Kim as a much softer, low IQ individual. Who could possibly be upset with that?" Joe Biden was in Houston yesterday speaking to the American Federation of Teachers, where he went after Trump, accusing him of creating a climate where hate crimes are flourishing.
Not a joke. Hate crimes are way up. We've empowered people come out from under rocks that never existed before.
And while this Trump-Biden matchup may be exactly what the Biden team would like to see, the former VP is facing some real challenges. His crowds are not huge, and he may not be progressive enough for many party faithful. What he has going for him is perceived electability. Democratic voters are putting a premium on that. 73% say it's extremely important that the Democratic nominee be able to beat Trump. But there are more than 20 other Democrats who think they're better positioned to do just that.
There's so many folks in this field. I think there's great opportunity for one of the other challengers who really isn't in the top 3 or 4 to punch above their weight.
Well, and that idea is keeping a lot of Democratic candidates in the race at this point, and certainly a lot of them are hoping to catch fire at the first Democratic debates that are going to be kind of unwieldy, but they're going to start at the end of next month. Mike and Alex.
Yeah. And that's an interesting point. I mean, the debates haven't even happened yet, but it seems like in the news cycle, because of what's been going on between President Trump and Biden, they're the only two we're talking about.
I know.
Yeah, and look, again, this is how they have positioned Joe Biden. I mean, he's not talking about the other Democrats in this race. He's talking about Donald Trump, and he's having a relatively few number of events compared to some of these other candidates. I mean, they really want to talk a lot about this potential Biden-Trump matchup.
If you ever insult me, try to say I'm like a crazy individual, not an idiot, if you don't mind, Doug.
It's softer.
It is softer.
Or a low IQ individual?
Yes. Thank you very much. Doug, we'll see you again tomorrow.
And moving on to your Fox 29 Weather Authority. The Philadelphia area is slated for another day of strong thunderstorms Wednesday in the wake of Tuesday's severe weather, which saw a tornado touch down in Berks County. Partly cloudy skies are expected early today, with scattered strong thunderstorms developing in the afternoon and evening. Storms may produce large hail and strong winds. Temperatures will reach a high of 87 degrees, and for the remainder of the week, temperatures will fluctuate between the mid-70s and mid-80s. But more storms, sadly, are expected Thursday, but the region is expected to dry out through most of the weekend. And here we have a look at current temperatures in our area. 67 degrees in Mount Pocono, about 10 degrees higher in Lancaster, about the same right here in Philadelphia, and move up a couple of degrees in Atlantic City and Wildwood, New Jersey. And looking ahead to our 7-day forecast, again, warm storms expected today and through tomorrow. We're seeing basically some same weather pattern there. But we will dry out by Friday and Saturday. We're looking at temperatures in the low 80s, mostly sunny, which we will take. But by Sunday, we do see precipitation return to the forecast with chance of showers. But overall, not looking like too bad of a weekend there. And don't forget to download the latest version of the Fox 29 Weather Authority app to have the latest forecast right at your fingertips. And back to some local news this morning. In Delaware County, new details this morning on the shooting that left a former Garnet Valley Middle School teacher dead. According to state police, Joseph Yairone and John Ballas argued Sunday morning around 3 a.m. after the teacher allegedly threatened Ballas' son. The father, armed with a gun, told Yairone he would shoot him if he came in his yard again. According to a cell phone recording of the confrontation, Yairone says, "Shoot me, then don't shoot me," before he was shot in the head. Ballas has been charged with criminal homicide and murder.
This was so unnecessary. All he had to do was say, "You're bothering me." I just called the police and that would have been it. But no, he shot him.
I can't even imagine. He and she are the gentlest people in the world. They're wonderful people. I can't even imagine him shooting anybody.
Yairone taught gym and health at Garnet Valley Middle School. He also coached football and baseball. The district says he resigned in March for personal and professional reasons. And happening today, the trial continues for a Penn State student accused of deleting video from the night one of his fraternity brothers died. Prosecutors say 22-year-old Braxton Becker erased security camera footage from the night 19-year-old Timothy Piazza died. Piazza died during a night of drinking and hazing at the Beta Theta Pi fraternity house at Penn State. Becker is facing misdemeanor charges of evidence tampering, obstruction, and hindering apprehension. 28 members of the frat face charges, and 23 of them have pleaded guilty to various charges. Becker's trial is the first of those who have maintained their innocence. And to Cape May County this morning, where police have released a sketch of a man they say sexually assaulted a woman while she was walking near the seawall in North Wildwood. Detectives say it happened last Tuesday on Anglesey Drive. The man is described as being in his 50s, 5'10", with short brown hair. If you think you recognize him, you're urged to contact police. Also in New Jersey, in Burlington County, the man accused of spearheading a GoFundMe scam is pleading not guilty. Mark D'Amico is charged with scamming donors out of more than $400,000 with a fake story about a homeless veteran helping his former girlfriend. Yesterday, he rejected a plea deal that would have sent him to prison for 5 years. Both of the other defendants in the case, his former girlfriend Caitlin McClure and homeless veteran Johnny Bobbitt, have pleaded guilty to their roles in the scam. And in Berks County, the U.S. Supreme Court has declined to take a case involving a Boyertown area school district's policy on transgender students. The court's decision means the current policy will stay in place and allow transgender students to use restrooms and locker rooms that correspond with their gender identities. Although it doesn't set precedent, supporters of the policy said the court's decision is a victory for trans rights. Opponents say they plan to continue to fight the policy. And also in local news, online sports betting is now live at a Philadelphia casino, so it's finally happened. Yesterday, regulators approved Sugar House Casino beginning a 3-day public testing period of its online sports betting systems. It went live at 4 p.m., and a Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board spokesman says if everything goes smoothly, Sugar House could begin taking online sports bets 24 hours a day on Friday. Ultimately, Pennsylvania gamblers who are at least 21 years old will be able to use electronic devices to bet on sporting events through casino websites or mobile apps. And over in New Jersey, in Mercer County, the state has issued new rules for microbreweries several months after initial attempt was met with resistance from business owners. The new guidelines limit how many events breweries can host and who is allowed to drink on site. They also dictate whether or not food can be served. For more information, you can check out that story on fox29.com. And on Good Day this morning, 15 people were shot and 1 person was killed in 2 separate shootings just days apart in Trenton, New Jersey. Residents of Trenton are fed up and police are working overtime. While police do not believe the 2 are connected, they are investigating whether the shootings are gang-related. Trenton Mayor Reed Gusiora joined Good Day this morning with more.
And 1 killed in 2 separate shootings that were just days apart, and it really has residents in Trenton fed up and police working overtime.
Yeah, the first one happened Saturday, early Saturday morning, where gunshots were fired into a crowd outside of a bar on Brunswick Ave. In that incident, 5 men and 5 women were shot. The second one was on Monday on Walnut Avenue. 1 person was killed, young man, 19 years old, 18 years old, I guess, and another 5 injured. Lauren Johnson spoke to some in the community about those crimes.
What do you think's going on here?
Just kids killing kids. That's all it is.
Once the gangs came, everything changed. Like when I was a teenager, we had so much. We had the parks, we had the libraries, we had everything back as teenagers in this city. Back then, nobody wasn't killing each other.
And now certainly things have changed. So we have Trenton Mayor Reed Gusiora joining us now. Thank you so much for coming in to talk about this issue.
Mr. Mayor, tell us more, a little bit about your background. How long have you been in Trenton?
Since 2011, but I've represented the capital city as a legislator for 22 years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you took office right after a major shooting incident where 22 people were shot.
Yes.
So you've had to deal with this from the day you stepped in office.
Yeah, and I think this is indicative of gun violence all across America. There's certainly been an uptick, and particularly when it comes to gang-related activities. But it deals with the socioeconomic problems of the cities, and that many kids just don't have hope, and they get into trouble, they join gangs.
So we do believe then that this is gang-related? Especially the recent ones?
Yes, we have neighborhood gangs against neighborhoods. We don't have those traditional gangs, but we have neighborhood gangs.
Is it as simple as don't get on my turf, that kind of thing? Don't come onto my block? Because the block we're looking at here, they have 3 memorials up on the same block. You can look across the street at the memorials.
Absolutely, yeah. They're gang-related, and it's a combination of drugs, guns, and gangs.
Are there certain neighborhoods that are being hardest hit? I don't know Trenton well enough to know if you have, names like Mount Airy or Ardmore, well, you have the different sections of town.
Yeah, we have 4 wards, and so these are in the East Ward, but we're not immune in the South or the North or the West, and it seems to be retaliatory. It goes in one neighborhood, and then the next day it's in another.
What do you do about it?
Well, we have a really good new police director, Sheila Coley. She was a police officer in Newark for 26 years. She was the police director, and she's really working with getting technology up to speed in Trenton, so that where we're a lack of manpower, we can use technology.
What do you, technology and what, like cameras and stuff?
Cameras and license plate readers and other surveillance equipment. But what we really need to do is work on the economic development. So Trenton can't be a tale of two cities where you have economic development, people who are interested in coming to the city, and at the same time other neighborhoods are racked with gun violence.
And also when it comes to neighborhoods, because we know one of the shootings was involved at a bar that happens to be in a neighborhood. Are you concerned about what's going on with some of these bars that are so close to homes and where people are living?
Yeah, and especially if they go into the wee hours, and then you have congregants outside the bar, and that's what happened during this drive-by, where it's almost an attractive nuisance. So we have to crack down on alcohol beverages that allow congregants outside their establishments.
Does it seem like it's just too much to handle? Like the water's lapping at your chin sometimes?
Well, it's not insurmountable. There's so many good things happening with the capital city because we have a lot of economic incentives. We have a brand new high school that's opening in the fall. So there's a lot of positive things, but we definitely have to stem the violence.
And it sounds like with some of the things that you guys are suggesting, it sounds like it's not going to be a quick solution. It's going to be more long-term.
We're in the long haul,
yeah.
And it needs to change the attitude and give kids hope that they could have a future rather than just a life of
It's
crime.
lack of hope. A lot of it.
It is a lack of hope, particularly in the inner cities all across America.
All right, good luck to you.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you.
And more from Good Day this morning. As we approach the 75th anniversary of D-Day, local veterans are planning to pay tribute to our heroes. One of those heroes joined us this morning with more.
You know, you got to remember history because you're doomed to repeat it. You know that old line, right?
But that's why it's one of the reasons why it's so important to remember and pay tribute to those who made our country what it is today.
We're coming up, believe it or not, on the 75th anniversary of D-Day, when Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy in France, a mission that was the turning point of World War II. But it was not without many, many consequences. More than 4,000 of our troops were killed on June 6th and the following days, 1944. Thousands more injured.
And next week, Captain Chuck Oliver, a retired member of the 82nd Airborne Division, will be among those who decided to parachute into France to commemorate the 75th anniversary of D-Day.
Captain Oliver, good to have you here.
I'm pleased to be here.
All right. So this, it's not going to be on June 6th, right? You're going to make this jump, commemorative jump on the 5th?
It'll be on the 5th. The airspace is closed down on the 6th for all the dignitaries and the regular D-Day celebrations.
But an interesting fact, it was originally scheduled for June 5th anyway, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And then bad weather held it up, and the first airborne, the the Pathfinders went in 11 minutes after midnight on the 6th of June.
Jumping, static line. Now, we're showing footage here of the land craft going in. I think that's what a lot of people think. You saw Saving Private Ryan,
Right.
stuff like movies like that. You always think of these vehicles going on to the beach.
Yes.
But you guys, well, back then, you weren't there.
I'm old, not that old.
You're not that old. You jumped out of airplanes. You were trying to get behind the Germans, right?
Behind the German lines, and in addition to the paratroopers, there were gliders. So these gliders were towed into the air, behind planes released, and then they were gliding into, again, landing behind lines and offloaded equipment.
How many paratroopers do you think jumped that night?
For the 82nd and the 101st is about 15,000.
Good Lord.
15,000.
Well, and that's total. I mean, you also have the British and the Canadians jumping as well.
Tell us about your uniform.
Yes, so we should mention your uniform that you're wearing.
We are wearing World War II uniforms, jumping from World War II C-47s. So this is the jump trousers, the jump jacket, the 82nd Airborne patch. I was in the 82nd. You've got the 101st and the Canadian and the British units. These are my jump wings, senior parachutist badge. And this is the patch indicating the 2nd Battalion of the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment. That was my unit.
Please tell me that this is an updated parachute, not from 1940.
This is the only modern thing that we'll have.
Thank God.
The planes are ancient, the jumpers are ancient, but this is a modern parachute. This is a SF-10A. It's a wonderful parachute. We didn't have these when I jumped. I jumped with T-10s and a steerable MC-1-1B, but this one right here, softest landing ever.
But not just that, also the helmets, too.
The helmets, too. So this is a World War II helmet. This is a symbol for 2nd Battalion 504. And this is the vertical bar for an officer. NCOs had a...
But you won't be using those because they're so...
No, I'm jumping with this.
You are?
Yes.
Oh.
Heavy.
Yeah.
It's very heavy.
Okay. And we want to thank you as well because you have served. Tell us a little bit about your service.
So I was in the 82nd Airborne Division, Charlie Company, 2nd 325. 2nd 504. I was also in 2nd 325 prior to that. So I was an infantry platoon leader, an anti-tank platoon leader, and I was also on regimental staff.
And how many jumps? Yes, thank you for your service. How many jumps have you done?
I had done 53 jumps when I was in the Army. In order to do this jump, I had to have a refresher training. So in Florida in March, I did 2 more. First time in 33 years I jumped, so I had 2 more for a total of 55.
Your 56th is going to be memorable.
Actually, I have a practice jump in the UK on the 4th.
Okay.
The 57th will be very memorable.
How many people are going to be with you?
There'll be 220 people.
From where? All over?
From all over the world.
Wow.
So Veterans Parachute Battalion is
all jumping at the same time?
They're all jumping at the same time.
Static line?
All static line.
And this is really interesting because when it comes to some of the veterans who are still living, this might be the last major Remembrance Day that they have?
This will be. This will be the last major anniversary. And if the veterans are still around in the 80th anniversary, we don't know if the planes will still be there because they're just as old.
What are you jumping out of?
A C-47. It's they're short for DAX for Dakotas. It's the old DC-3.
From back in the
And we can watch this, right? We want to see this.
Yes. In fact, our group, we have a combat photographer who will be on the ground at the drop zone who will attempt to live stream this on our Facebook page.
Okay, we'll have that live on our show.
Yes, we will.
What time of day in France?
It'll be between 1600 and 1630 local time in France. So that'll be between 10 o'clock and 10:30 in the morning on June 5th here.
We'll be right on the cusp for our 4 o'clock show. Captain, great to have you here.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Good luck with it.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we're going to come right back.
And more on Good Day this morning. The iPod changed the way we listen to music forever, and while Apple no longer prominently lists the device on the front page of its website anymore, they certainly haven't forgotten their roots. That is why Apple has released the first iPod since 2015, and with a serious hardware upgrade. Tech expert Anthony Mangaluzzo joined Good Day with more.
Watch this, because you'll remember the iPods.
Oh my
and all
gosh.
This.
Oh, sure.
We're laying out iPods on the table.
Nano
throwbacks.
It's like Game of
Let me
Fish.
set this up. The blast from the past that we're laying on the table here. Oh, God, I hate that. The Apple iPod is back. But the question is, why?
In its heyday, the iPod was a device everyone wanted because it allowed you to, what? Play music and make playlists and hold thousands of songs in your pocket. And you could run and hold it. It was just really something. But then we got the iPhone, and then people were like, well, why do I need a separate thing if I can have it on my phone? And then people kind of forgot about it.
The reason why you bring this up,
Hi, Anthony.
This new Apple iPod Touch is now on the market for a couple $100s.
And we haven't had a new iPod since 2015. So people are like, what's up with this?
Exactly. And, you know, it doesn't have cellular capability. And let me show you something very interesting about the new iPod Touch. It looks exactly like the original one right here. So basically, the device is going to look actually the same. Now, the cool thing is about the new device, it's twice as powerful as the one that was last released. It basically has the same power of an iPhone 7, but it also gives you the ability to use augmented reality and sign up for Apple's new arcade service. So it's like a high-tech Game Boy.
So we're looking at video from it now. This is from Apple.com that are showing off the new Apple iPod Touch. So the way I would describe it is when I describe it to people, it's basically everything but a phone.
It's basically everything but a phone. Now, the cool thing is you could do group FaceTime with it. So we'll give you some of those features like that if you're connected to Wi-Fi. So it's a great entry-level gift for children. Say you have that 9-year-old son or daughter that you're not quite there for a cell phone, but you want them to have a smartphone, you want them to learn some tech stuff and be relevant, I'll say.
Now I get it. They're going for that market. In fact, I got a tweet who explains this pretty well. This is what Apple's looking for, to sell even more stuff to our children, right?
Well, I'm going to give you two things. Sell more stuff, but in fall, they're going to release the new Apple Arcade service. It's going to be, they didn't give you the price yet. It's going to be, my guess is under $20 a month. Guess what? You get 400,000 of these devices to kids. Guess what they're going to want? They're going to want video games, and then Apple's going to make millions of dollars each month. So the more of these devices they get in your hand, the more streaming stuff they're going to sell. Music, arcades, everything that they do, apps. It's a lot of money.
We should say, too, that because I don't want parents at home to think, oh, if I get them this, they won't be able to make phone calls. Technically, you still can through FaceTime.
FaceTime, Google Voice. You can install other apps.
Or FaceTime audio.
Exactly.
As long as they're connected to Wi-Fi, they can still make phone calls and send messages to other people.
Don't get it twisted. And they can, FaceTime, which might be the worst possible thing.
FaceTime, Snapchat, a lot of different things that get in trouble these days that we did not have in our younger years.
My 8-year-old on FaceTime, fantastic.
Can we go back down memory lane though? Which ones
let's go.
are we looking?
Should have started with this one.
Let me show you this
guy. Leave him down so we can see it on the screen there.
This one's neat. This is a 2004 version of one of the original iPods.
Which one? This one here or that one?
That one there with the plug.
Is this the oldest one?
This one, I believe, is the oldest one. I couldn't tell. This one I want to say is 02. But this one, we thought it was broken. We plugged it into the computer at the office. It actually fixed itself, so to speak. It wasn't broken, and it connected with a modern-day iTunes. So you could see we have Rocky going on there. We have the Rocky.
This is the one I remember.
Yes. What was this one called?
That was my personal one. That was the Nano.
That
was the old time. You go to the gym, you put it on your arm, and it would work out that way.
But then what about this one? This one's even smaller.
I bought that one.
Yep, that was the shuffle. Basically, you load music on it, and it just would randomly play stuff for you there. So.
I remember.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see. Well, they're going to probably sell out.
Yeah, and believe it or not, an original one. Like I said, they sent the original. The YouTube version went for $90,000 sealed.
And look how thick it is.
Oh, feel compared to my phone even.
Oh my gosh.
No, wait a minute.
It's heavier than the phone.
So one went for $90,000. That was still in the package.
It's still in the package.
Yeah. Okay.
Another original one went for $20,000, just the original, not the YouTube one on eBay. So pretty crazy.
Cool. Hey, Anthony, thanks a lot for bringing those in.
Yep.
Let's take a break.
Let's do.
And from champagne pops to rosé sorbet, Good Day explored the hottest drinks to keep you cool all summer long.
Ready. We need a foot cam. And let me step over here and say it. Summer is just around the corner. He loves that phrase.
Oh, no. Well, so hi everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to Philadelphia. So it's starting to heat up now. We're getting close to 90.
Which is summer's around the corner.
Well,
So the change in the season could mean the change in what you're drinking. Basically, when it's hot out, we want something that's cold.
So we're doing frozen cocktails is what we're doing, virgin cocktails or whatever, okay? So let's introduce everybody. Who are you?
I am Erin. I'm from the Twisted Tail, Society Hill.
Are there more than one Twisted Tail at town?
No.
No.
Just one.
Society Hill.
Because you guys are right in Head House Square.
We are, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where
I
they
usually
wear
go there
those,
after Easter.
like school uniforms and stuff like that?
What?
No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, people tend to wear plaid shirts, our servers, but yeah.
Okay.
No
And
school
don't
uniforms.
you have live music sometimes?
We do. We have live
Mhm.
blues music 6 nights a week.
Okay.
And lots of bourbon.
What did you freeze up for us?
So we froze fresh fruit popsicles. We've got blueberry, peach, and lemon. And then we put that in a coupe of champagne. So it's sort of up to you. I have one sitting here to, kind of color it, flavor the champagne, or you can decide to eat your popsicle fresh.
Does the popsicle take on the taste of the champagne?
A little bit. It's more that if you let it sit, the champagne
Oh.
takes on the flavor of the popsicle.
But is there any in the popsicle? Or the popsicle's just the fruit?
The popsicles
base?
are just pureed fruit. We throw
Okay.
them in a mold, and they're that simple.
Okay.
Very nice.
Thank you, Aaron. Who are you, sir?
Hi, I'm Tim Johnson. I work at the Logan Hotel, Urban Farmer as well as Assembly, and we also have Commons Lounge in the hotel lobby bar as well.
Fantastic. I was in Urban Farmer last night.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
I must have just missed you.
With Melissa, and we had the burger.
Oh, the burger's fantastic. Oh, it's unbelievable.
And I love going to Assembly because of the view. You
It's
can see the
unbelievable up
parkway.
there. It really is one of the best views in the city. It's really like intimate. It sits on right top of
Yeah.
the parkway. You see right up to the Art Museum steps. It's one of the best views in the city, I think.
What did you freeze? It
So-
looks like sherbet.
So what we have here is one of our 2 frozen cocktails we have up at Assembly. So that's going to be made with Aperol, Saint Germain, as well as a citrus blend, which
I
is
have
going to
a
be made from, please.
What's Aperol?
So Aperol is a digestif from Italy.
I didn't
It's
know.
very popular right now. Last summer they really became really popular in the city with Aperol spritzes, really across the
Aperol
country in
spritzes.
general.
Sure, I'll try it. Because usually at Assembly, not that I've been there a lot, but there's 2 options, right? You have the frosé, and then you have the Aperol one.
Exactly.
So I always get the frosé, but this is my first time
So
trying.
Frosé was hugely popular. We wanted to
Yes.
kind of tap into what else was going on in the scene, and
So
this
this
has
is the
been
new
huge
thing.
this summer. So if you want to fit in, get to Assembly and drink one of these.
Oh, that's
Aperol
nice.
Frosés. So
I like it.
It's bitter, a little bit refreshing.
It's like a
Yeah.
more intense orange juice. Does that make sense?
Looks like it. What's up, man?
Hey, Mike.
Who are
Good to see
you?
Jared Atkins from Bluebird Distilling. So we're a craft distillery located in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
We do all of our spirits from scratch. And recently we just opened up a brand new cocktail bar at the Bourse right across the street from you guys.
Oh, your neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely.
What'd you freeze?
So we actually have the state-of-the-art, high-tech frozen drink machine that can freeze anything.
Anything?
Anything. You can basically pour a straight bottle of alcohol and it'll freeze it.
See, that's the debate Mike was trying to have.
Alcohol will freeze.
It will freeze if cold enough. This goes down to -10, so we're able to have a lot of fun with cocktails and actually freeze them solid.
Wow, so you just need a fancy machine because it won't in the
Just
freezer.
a fancy machine, that's it.
How does it get through the straw? It's frozen solid.
Well, it's still a little bit. Just
Okay.
good one now. So for today, we have a frozen gin and tonic.
Okay.
So we take a regular gin and tonic and we mix it up a little bit and do it a bluebird style.
Okay.
So we have tonic, our juniperous gin, some fresh honeysuckle, simple syrup,
honeysuckle.
and then we do a botanical blend and fresh grapefruit juice. And then we put it all in this machine together and then freeze it solid.
As you take a sip here, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have our final
And I will
one here,
join
which
you
is-
with one.
Okay, it's so cold. Yeah, it's hard to lift it up. Here, I'm gonna-
There you go.
We'll be right back.
Cheers.
And back to local news this morning. Cleanup continues after a tornado ripped through a Morgantown neighborhood. Fox 29's Steve Keeley filed this report.
What's your thought looking at this stuff?
Overwhelmed.
I don't know the exact weight of a Pontiac G6, but that Pontiac G6 was picked up and tossed far from where it was parked. And you can see it's in the grass, and it rolled and had grass. That's where we started our day at 4 a.m., and that became a media focal point. But you can see where we are now. We're going to give you the back look of these townhomes, and here's a section of heavy roof right next to where kids would play at a playground. And just great that all the kids got pulled into the houses and to safety by mom and dad and anybody that was around, because the early warning saved lives, because kids on a warm spring day would definitely be outside by the pool or the playground. And the back of these houses, almost as devastated looking as the front that we've shown. doors and windows just out and off, and the cleanup began. They knew they had, as Sue's predicting these storms, they knew they had storms bearing down on them again. Look, there's guys going up on the roof across the street. The work crews are already out because they know it could rain again and cause more further damage because there's holes in rooftops and even walls are missing. And you can see pickup, cleanup, everything underway. They'll worry about the trees later, but the tree work is also underway as well. But the back of these houses, just utter devastation. And see the wood sticking out over here? These aren't 2x4s. These are 4x4s. And if you're outside and the flying glass is here, that's going to do some damage to a person. But this thing, I tried wedging this out and loosening it up. I don't even know how deep it's in the ground. This went into the ground like a spear. And Greg's going to come from my angle. And you can see this is a 4x4 piece of wood. That would be just heavy picking it up at a Home Depot. It's so deep into the ground, it was almost like it was shoved in there by a pile driver. And you can see when those things are flying through the air, that's how people get killed in tornadoes. So the back of the houses, look at these trees. Some trees were picked up out of the roots. These were just cut off 3 or 4 feet above ground, and the top of them went into the playground area where the fence is all gone. And we're going to walk along the yellow tape here. So this is where most kids are on an afternoon like yesterday with the weather. And all the kids, if they were here, you can just imagine. Look at the swimming pool, a very busy spot this time of year in this heat. Look at all the wood, like we were just showing you in the ground, now in the swimming pool. You've been here on a normal day, and then to see it like this, what's your thought as the sun comes up?
Speechless. I'm speechless. I just can't. It's hard to take in because I was not here when it actually happened. I got called while I was at work. So and when I got home it was pitch black and everybody just walking around in shock. So I'm walking around now and I'm in shock. It's amazing what Mother Nature can do.
And from now on, whenever you hear tornado warning, you know from seeing this with your own eyes where you live.
Oh, yes.
Take it seriously.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It's scary. I know when I got home, I have 2 cats and a dog. They were freaking out. So I know it's bad. It's hard to take in.
This could be a such worse story if everybody didn't listen to the warning system on their phones and on their televisions at dinner time. So across Valley Ponds Road, you see another roof missing, but already tarp on there. So the cleanup underway, and boy, it's going to be a big cleanup, but thankfully everybody will be alive to help clean up.
And here we have a live look at Washington, D.C., where Special Counsel Robert Mueller is set to make his first public statement on the Russia investigation Wednesday. Mueller will speak at the Justice Department at 11 a.m., and he will not be taking any questions. It was not immediately clear what Special Counsel Robert Mueller intends to say, but the statement comes amid demands for Mueller to testify on Capitol Hill about his findings and tension with Attorney General William Barr over the handling of his report. Mueller's report into Russian meddling into the 2016 election did not find that Russia and the Trump campaign coordinated to sway the presidential election. It also did not reach a conclusion on whether Trump had obstructed justice, with Mueller saying he did not think it would be fair to publicly accuse the president of a crime if he could not charge him. A Justice Department legal opinion holds that sitting presidents cannot be indicted. Barr has said that he was surprised that Mueller did not reach a conclusion and decided with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein that the evidence did not support an obstruction of justice allegation. Mueller, for his part, privately complained to Barr that a 4-page letter that the Attorney General wrote summarizing his main conclusions did not adequately capture the investigation's findings. Barr had called Mueller's letter snitty. Barr is currently in Alaska for work. A senior White House official said the White House was notified on Tuesday night that a Mueller statement was slated for Wednesday. So again, we're live in Washington, awaiting that 11 a.m. statement. Stay with us.
Hi. Hi, Kate. Nice to meet you.
What I hate is like all of these, everyone puts Robert Mueller in the photo. You end up with like a bunch of photos that come out on the feed. It's not relevant at all.
Wait, do you have to do a lot of the...
I just pick the photos.
Wow. A lot of power.
Yeah.
How boring Pascal's is like.
Are you excited today too? Yes.
What excited
Drink to make it official. Sorry.
Lucky I made it.
Glad you're
What'd you say?
No, we're all each got one.
pretty unexpected, huh?
Yeah.
Where was the in bars in Alaska.
You know you knew about next days.
Oh, right. I knew about this.
I came down for some.
Oh, boy. The key is like technologies that increasingly don't work.
I'll come for the show.
Oh, yeah. This is not going to be helpful.
Are you putting this?
I don't think this.
This is probably one of the best ones, yeah.
Yeah. I think I take a picture. What? No. Why? No. I wouldn't wait to investigate that.
What was that?
We did so. Yeah.
No collusion. No obstruction.
We're getting to the moment in time where I need to caution people that perhaps the microphones have been activated.
We're just joking, man.
I'm just saying. As Pete comes in, he takes a seat. Yeah.
So are the camp to preach everybody. Good.
Hello. Hey. Yes.
So I feel like we should be able to make a comment today that this matter is different and that I'm now transitioning to an academic lifestyle. So some other moron is going to have to come with this nonsense. Oh, you. Oh, you. I was just waiting for you to do that, Loretta. Exclusive. Exclusive. She's going to.
Okay.
That's that. I know. I was surprised. I was too.
Katie.
Some young individuals did the name cards because we're not exactly in our normal spots.
Hey.
Does anybody have a good drink? Cool earring. Oh, that's a good drink. Sorry, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Sorry.
About 50-50.
Out of respect for our writers.
So what's
I was a kid about 35 years.
Dumb longevity. Dumb verbosity.
No, I found out.
That's all right. Alexa.
All right. Yeah. But yes, I think for we always frames per second.
Exactly.
One, the silent part of it, and two, just the frame rate. Focus is everything about it.
Think of the breath of a bird on a cold day. Right? You have like, you get that with that frame. I was talking to my manager.
It's great. Yeah, some guy who does a lot of eagle work.
Image quality, the sensors are about the same.
I think it's something.
Sounds better.
Really?
All around, I mean,
Are they light? They're not light.
They're lighter.
Oh, they are?
Well, the lenses are heavier.
That's covered, and you don't need that much. That's not
No, it's sitting.
They didn't let any crews in, any other crews in.
But it's a investment, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that sort of ties you. Spend enough on it.
I know. Trying to get started.
no, it's the worst.
I think, well, one, when you're taking pictures, you're moving, even depending on the shutter speed. As soon as that mirror goes up, you can't take it. And when it's coming down, you can't take it. Plus, you're shooting at a slow shutter speed. Every time that mirror comes out and hits, it's vibration. Sure. But every vibration, so you can shoot 10 seconds or something. There's no. After we went mirrorless right forward. So you don't do the other person.
And then I went to I don't know. They might. I don't know if they're coming out. Okay, cool. He got Please do. No, everybody. Everybody. What's your request? Yes, whatever you do, if you want any adjustments, there should be an alcohol there. I hope you understand. It's trying time for you.
Yeah, I put it on the door, I think. Let me see.
There we go. Totally understand. I got all the emails. There you go. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Jim's up. Shake your hand. How we doing?
I know, I tweeted that. I tweeted like, no thanks. Yeah.
Right. There you go.
I'll do it. I was out of town. Sure.
All right, it's Pierre here. That's, I don't know. Yeah, it's Pierre, yeah, I agree with George. 28. You're shooting Sony? Yeah. Huh? 28. I do. Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's the guidance.
Hold on. Was that just the 2-minute one? And will they? Okay. Yeah, we will. We will give it to them. Okay.
Hey, George, that guidance I had provided he's usually prompt. Everyone expects him to be on time. Let me double check. They are going to get it right now. Okay, let me see if they're going to do it.
I find him also off there. Normal 50. Yeah, I've only been there once actually. So my immediate gamble. Immediate monster.
Are we expecting he's on time today?
We're going to give it 2 minutes more.
I think it'll be on time.
He'll be on time. Yeah, they're saying they're expecting.
You're on time for a second.
Hi everyone, this is your 2-minute warning. Special Counsel Robert Mueller will be coming to give a statement. He is not taking questions, this is just a statement, and he'll be out in about 2 minutes. Thank you.
Is he going to be on his own, or is there going to be anyone else on the team? Just him.
Just Mueller himself, guys. These are 2-minute warnings.
That's pretty good, right? Can you
after the Super Bowl, straight outside.
Hey, Bob.
Okay, so Priscilla, we just had the 2-minute warning, so go to the live shop session. Okay, as soon as we'll do it right as soon as this wraps up, probably 20 minutes. Okay, thanks. Fine, start, thank you. Yeah.
But George, a lot of anticipation here. We've not heard from this man in over 2 years. Said nothing as the investigation unfolded, speaking only in court. There has been a lot of conversation about whether he wants to testify before Congress. Our sources have been saying that he's been extremely reluctant to do that. He does not want to engage in a political circus. So we'll find out soon directly from Mueller.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. 2 years ago, the acting Attorney General asked me to serve as special counsel, and he created the special counsel's office. The appointment order directed the office to investigate Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. This included investigating any links or coordination between the Russian government and individuals associated with the Trump campaign. Now, I have not spoken publicly during our investigation. I'm speaking out today because our investigation is complete. The Attorney General has made the report on our investigation largely public. We are formally closing the special counsel's office, and as well, I'm resigning from the Department of Justice to return to private life. I'll make a few remarks about the results of our work. But beyond these few remarks, it is important that the office's written work speak for itself. Let me begin where the appointment order begins, and that is interference in the 2016 presidential election. As alleged by the grand jury in an indictment, Russian intelligence officers who were part of the Russian military launched a concerted attack on our political system. The indictment alleges that they used sophisticated cyber techniques to hack into computers and networks used by the Clinton campaign. They stole private information and then released that information through fake online identities and through the organization WikiLeaks. The releases were designed and timed to interfere with our election and to damage a presidential candidate. And at the same time, as the grand jury alleged in a separate indictment, a private Russian entity engaged in a social media operation where Russian citizens posed as Americans in order to influence an election. These indictments contain allegations, and we are not commenting on the guilt or the innocence of any specific defendant. Every defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. The indictments allege, and the other activities in our report describe, efforts to interfere in our political system. They needed to be investigated and understood, and that is among the reasons why the Department of Justice established our office. That is also a reason we investigated efforts to obstruct the investigation. The matters we investigated were of paramount importance. It was critical for us to obtain full and accurate information from every person we questioned. When a subject of an investigation obstructs that investigation or lies to investigators, it strikes at the core of the government's effort to find the truth and hold wrongdoers accountable. Let me say a word about the report. The report has two parts, addressing the two main issues we were asked to investigate. The first volume of the report details numerous efforts emanating from Russia to influence the election. This volume includes a discussion of the Trump campaign's response to this activity, as well as our conclusion that there was insufficient evidence to charge a broader conspiracy. And in the second volume, the report describes the results and analysis of our obstruction of justice investigation involving the president. The order appointing me special counsel authorized us to investigate actions that could obstruct the investigation. And we conducted that investigation, and we kept the office of the acting attorney general apprised of the progress of our work. And as set forth in the report, after that investigation, if we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. We did not, however, make a determination as to whether the president did commit a crime. The introduction to the Volume 2 of our report explains that decision. It explains that under long-standing department policy, a president cannot be charged with a federal crime while he is in office. That is unconstitutional. Even if the charge is kept under seal and hidden from public view, that too is prohibited. The special counsel's office is part of the Department of Justice, and by regulation, it was bound by that department policy. Charging the president with a crime was therefore not an option we could consider. The department's written opinion explaining the policy makes several important points that further informed our handling of the obstruction investigation. Those points are summarized in our report, and I will describe two of them for you. First, the opinion explicitly permits the investigation of a sitting president because it is important to preserve evidence while memories are fresh and documents available. Among other things, that evidence could be used if there were co-conspirators who could be charged now. And second, the opinion says that the Constitution requires a process other than the criminal justice system to formally accuse a sitting president of wrongdoing. And beyond department policy, we were guided by principles of fairness. It would be unfair to potentially accuse somebody of a crime when there can be no court resolution of the actual charge. So that was Justice Department policy. Those were the principles under which we operated, and from them we concluded that we would not reach a determination one way or the other about whether the president committed a crime. That is the office's final position, and we will not comment on any other conclusions or hypotheticals about the president. We conducted an independent criminal investigation and reported the results to the Attorney General, as required by department regulations. The Attorney General then concluded that it was appropriate to provide our report to Congress and to the American people. At one point in time, I requested that certain portions of the report be released. The Attorney General preferred to make the entire report public all at once, and we appreciate that the Attorney General made the report largely public, and I certainly do not question the Attorney General's good faith in that decision. Now, I hope and expect this to be the only time that I will speak to you in this manner. I am making that decision myself. No one has told me whether I can or should testify or speak further about this matter. There has been discussion about an appearance before Congress. Any testimony from this office would not go beyond our report. It contains our findings and analysis and the reasons for the decisions we made. We chose those words carefully, and the work speaks for itself. And the report is my testimony. I would not provide information beyond that which is already public in any appearance before Congress. In addition, access to our underlying work product is being decided in a process that does not involve our office. So beyond what I've said here today and what is contained in our written work, I do not believe it is appropriate for me to speak further about the investigation or to comment on the actions of the Justice Department or Congress. And it's for that reason I will not be taking questions today as well. Now, before I step away, I want to thank the attorneys, the FBI agents, the analysts, the professional staff who helped us conduct this investigation in a fair and independent manner. These individuals, who spent nearly 2 years with the special counsel's office, were of the highest integrity. And I will close by reiterating the central allegation of our indictments, that there were multiple, systematic efforts to interfere in our election. And that allegation deserves the attention of every American. Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Sir, if you're subpoenaed, will you be full time?
No question.
And that was Special Counsel Robert Mueller announcing who will be leading the Justice Department as the investigation into interference by the Russian government into the 2016 election has been closed, and he will not be speaking further beyond that and beyond the report issued by the Special Counsel's office. And that is going to do it for us today at Fox 29's News Now. Catch us again tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. And be sure to follow Fox 29 at fox29.com, as well as our mobile app and across social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And thank you for joining.